There is a rare group of people who are born with an innate ability to endure, to rise above, and to transform themselves despite the challenges and obstacles life throws at them. These are the chosen ones. You, my friend, are one of them. But what does it truly mean to be one of the chosen ones? What does it take to step into that power, that untouchable energy that others cannot help but notice? And what's the significance of the journey you've been on? The one that has led you to this moment of immense self-realization. The journey of the chosen ones is not an easy one. It is not a smooth path, free from strife or struggle. No, this path is forged in the flames of challenge, in the fires of adversity, and in the shadow of betrayal. It is shaped by moments where you were tested, tried, and pushed to your absolute limits. But it's also a journey of growth, of self-discovery, and ultimately of liberation. Being chosen is not about destiny being handed to you on a silver platter. It's about being selected by life itself to rise above, to become something more than what others expect of you. It's about finding your true power when everyone else thinks you've been broken. It's about emerging stronger, wiser, and more confident than you've ever been, often in spite of the people who tried to hold you down. As the chosen one, you've encountered moments of weakness, doubt, and pain. You've had your fair share of losses, regrets, and missteps. But through it all, there's been an undeniable pull within you, a force that kept you going when others might have given up. There's been a knowing deep inside that you are meant for something greater, something far beyond the limitations that others place on you. This journey, your journey, has shaped you into someone who doesn't just survive, you thrive. But this transformation hasn't been easy, nor has it been without its battles. Now, those around you, the ones who once mocked you or tried to control you, are starting to see the change. They are seeing the new you, the one they can no longer reach, manipulate, or predict. Welcome to the journey of the chosen ones. The path you've walked has not only shaped you into someone powerful and free, but it has also set the stage for something even greater. The moment when those who once doubted you are forced to recognize the strength and sovereignty you've gained. You've arrived. Now, let's explore the moments and lessons that led you here. The past version of you, the struggle and the games, before you became the powerful being you are today. You were once just like anyone else. You were caught in the games, the endless cycle of seeking approval, waiting for validation, and bending to the will of those who made you feel smaller than you were. You were once trapped in the opinions of others, constantly questioning your worth and your place in this world. It wasn't that you were weak, far from it, but you were misled into thinking that your value was based on the way others saw you. You played the game of pleasing people, of conforming to expectations, of being the version of yourself that was palatable and acceptable to those around you. You were expected to shrink, to explain yourself, to constantly prove your worth. You found yourself overextending just to meet the demands of others, even at the cost of your own happiness. You were stuck in a cycle where your every action was a reflection of someone else's desires, someone else's image of who you should be. It was exhausting. It was draining. But somehow you kept pushing, kept trying, kept hoping that someday it would all pay off. That maybe, if you did enough, gave enough, sacrificed enough, you would be seen for who you truly were. But the more you gave, the more they took. The more you shrank, the less they noticed. There was a point when it became painfully clear the game was rigged. The more you played by their rules, the more you lost yourself. They didn't want you to win. They wanted you to remain in the shadows, beneath their expectations, always striving, always proving. And what you didn't realize at the time was that they were not just trying to control you, but to keep you small. To keep you where you could be easily manipulated, easily dismissed, and easily controlled. But deep down, even in the midst of the struggle, something within you stirred. There was always a quiet voice telling you that there was more, that you didn't have to live this way, that you didn't have to play their games anymore. That voice was your awakening, the first flicker of light in a dark room full of uncertainty. And it was in that moment that the game started to change. The shift, breaking free from the chains. There's a moment in everyone's journey when enough is enough. For you, it came when the weight of the chains became too heavy to carry any longer. You could no longer stand being bound by the expectations of others, by the need to prove your worth, and by the constant emotional manipulation that had been draining you for so long. The moment you decided to break free from these chains, you ignited a fire within yourself that could not be extinguished. The shift was not sudden, but rather a gradual awakening. It was a process of shedding the layers of conditioning, of confronting the lies you had been told about who you were, and of finally embracing the truth of your own worth. The process of breaking free was not without its pain. There were moments of doubt, moments of fear, and moments when you questioned if it was even possible to truly escape from the grip of others. But despite these fears, you moved forward, one step at a time. The key to breaking free was realizing that you didn't need anyone's approval anymore. You didn't need their validation. You didn't need to explain yourself, to prove yourself, or to shrink yourself to fit into a mold that was never meant for you. The chains that once held you were not physical. They were emotional, mental, and psychological. They were the stories you had been told about who you should be, the expectations placed upon you, and the manipulations that kept you trapped in a cycle of self-doubt. When you finally understood this, when you saw the truth of what was holding you back, you began the process of liberation. It was no longer about what they wanted or needed from you. It became about what you needed from yourself: freedom, peace, and a life of authenticity. The moment you realized this, the chains started to fall away. You no longer needed permission to be yourself, to speak your truth, to walk in your power. You had unlocked the door to your true potential, and there was no going back. The power of silence, your presence speaks volumes. As you broke free from the chains, you began to notice something incredible. The more you embraced your true self, the more powerful your presence became. You didn't have to shout to be heard. You didn't have to explain yourself to be understood. Your silence became your strength, and your presence began to command attention, not through words, but through the sheer force of your energy. The power of silence lies in its ability to speak louder than any words ever could. When you stop seeking validation and start standing firmly in your own truth, you exude a quiet confidence that others cannot ignore. Your silence is not one of withdrawal or weakness, but one of strength and control. It is the silence of someone who knows their worth, who is comfortable with who they are, and who no longer feels the need to justify their existence to anyone. This silence often terrifies those around you. It is unsettling because it disrupts the narrative they've built around you. They are used to you being reactive, to you engaging in their games, to you responding to their provocations. But when you stop playing, when you no longer feed into their manipulations and chaos, they are left with nothing to hold on to. Your silence becomes a mirror to their insecurity, forcing them to confront their own fear, doubt, and inadequacy. The power of silence is not about being mute. It's about choosing when and how to speak. It's about understanding that your worth does not need to be validated by others, and that your peace and presence are more powerful than any loud words or arguments. When you embrace the power of silence, you no longer need to fight for attention or approval, you simply radiate it. The fear of others, why your silence terrifies them. There's something deeply unsettling about the silence of someone who has found their inner power. When you no longer react to the provocations of others, when you no longer allow them to pull you into their games, they are left with only their own fears. Your silence is a threat to them because it reveals their own inadequacies and the control they once had over you. They expected you to be angry, to lash out, to give them the satisfaction of knowing they could still get under your skin. But when you remain calm, composed, and unfazed, they are forced to confront the truth they've been avoiding. They no longer have power over you. This fear is not born out of hatred, but out of insecurity. They fear the void that your silence creates because it forces them to face their own shortcomings. They thought they had control over you through their noise, their manipulations, and their emotional games. But your silence strips that illusion away, leaving them with nothing to hold on to. They want you to react. They want you to fall back into the patterns they've set. But when you don't, it shatters their perception of reality and leaves them grasping for control they can no longer attain. In the silence, they realize that you've moved beyond their reach. You've grown, evolved, and risen to a level where their tactics no longer affect you, and that, above all else, is terrifying to them. The reversal of power, from reactive to proactive. For so long, you lived your life reacting to the world around you. You played by the rules set by others, following their lead, seeking their approval, and waiting for their permission to be yourself. But as you grew, as you learned to step into your own power, something shifted inside you. You stopped waiting for others to tell you what to do. You stopped reacting to their demands, their insults, their manipulations. And in that moment, you began to take control of your own destiny. The shift from being reactive to proactive is a monumental one. It's the shift from living in survival mode to living in alignment with your purpose. It's the realization that you no longer need external validation to make decisions or move forward in life. You've learned to trust your intuition, to follow your own path, and to make decisions that serve your highest good, not based on the opinions of others. This shift is where true power lies. It's not in waiting for things to happen or reacting to life's circumstances. It's in stepping forward with certainty, with confidence, and with the knowledge that you are in control of your own life. When you are proactive, you don't wait for opportunities to come to you, you create them. You don't wait for approval, you simply move forward, trusting that the right people and opportunities will align with you. This is where the true magic happens. The moment you step into your power and become proactive, you unlock a force within yourself that others can only dream of. They may try to pull you back into their reactive, manipulative world, but you are no longer interested. You've moved beyond that. You've taken the reins of your own life, and nothing can stop you from forging your own path. The absence of your energy, more powerful than your presence. There's a profound power in absence, something that most people fail to recognize until it's too late. You see, for so long, your energy was the thing that others could tap into. They sought your presence, your approval, your attention, and they could always count on your emotional investment. You were the one who always showed up, always tried to make things work, always carried the weight of others' expectations. But what happens when you stop showing up? What happens when you no longer invest your energy in people, places, and situations that drain you? The moment you began to reclaim your energy, you noticed something remarkable. Your absence became more powerful than your presence ever was. This isn't about being physically absent. It's about energetically withdrawing from relationships, situations, and habits that no longer serve you. It's about no longer allowing others to feed off your emotional, mental, and spiritual resources. When you stop giving away your energy to people who do not appreciate it, something magical happens. You reclaim your power and you become untouchable. Your absence speaks volumes. It's a silent but undeniable message that you no longer need anyone's validation or approval to be whole. And while people may try to fill the space you've left, they can't quite replicate the energy you once gave. This is a realization that others come to far too late. They try to fill the void you left behind, but it's never the same. Your energy is irreplaceable, and the absence of it reveals just how much you were carrying all along. What they don't understand is that your energy was never meant to be drained. It was always meant to empower, inspire, and uplift. But in their ignorance or manipulation, they took it for granted. And now, in the silence, they are left with the consequences of their own actions. They are forced to face the emptiness they've created by undervaluing your presence. But you have moved on. Your absence is not a punishment. It's simply the result of your own healing, your own growth, and your own understanding of your worth. You've become the kind of person whose presence is felt even when you're not around. This is the true power of the chosen one's, the ability to influence and inspire without needing to be physically present. Your energy now radiates from within, unaffected by the external chaos. And those who once relied on you are left to reckon with the fact that they never really had control over you. It was always you giving them permission. And now, they are powerless without it. The need for others, realizing they never had control. For so long, you were made to believe that you were dependent on others, that your worth was somehow tied to their approval, their validation, and their acceptance. You were conditioned to believe that you needed them to succeed, to thrive, and to be happy. And they believed it too, They thought that by having you in their lives, by controlling your actions, they could mold you into someone who served their interests. But what they failed to understand is that they never truly had control over you. They only had the illusion of control, which was enabled by your willingness to give them that power. Now that you've broken free from that illusion, the truth becomes crystal clear. You don't need anyone to validate you. You don't need anyone to define your worth or to tell you what you're capable of. Your strength, your abilities, your worth, all of these things come from within. And as you've embraced your own power, you've realized something even more significant. Those who once tried to control you now need you more than you ever needed them. This realization can be jarring for both you and them. For you, it's the realization that you've been giving away your power for far too long, letting people manipulate your emotions, your actions, and your beliefs. And for them, it's the terrifying truth that the one they once had under their thumb has now become untouchable. They no longer have the control they once thought they had. They no longer can pull the strings. And that realization is not one they can simply accept. What you've done, whether consciously or not, is reclaim your personal sovereignty. You've freed yourself from the belief that anyone outside of yourself can determine your happiness, your success, or your future. And in doing so, you've exposed the truth to those who once had the power to manipulate you. They now see the truth. You were never their possession to control. And now, they are left scrambling, seeking ways to reconnect with the version of you that they thought they could control. But the truth is, you are beyond their reach. This shift is empowering, not just for you, but for anyone else who was once caught in the web of others' manipulation. You have broken free from the chains of external control, and now you are living a life that is entirely your own, shaped by your own decisions, your own beliefs, and your own desires. The need for others to validate or control you no longer exists, and in that absence, you find the strength to stand alone, unshaken, and unapologetically you. The strength of detachment, mastering emotional independence. Detachment is a word that often gets misunderstood. Many think of detachment as indifference, coldness, or apathy, but true detachment is the ultimate form of emotional independence. It's the ability to love and care deeply without becoming emotionally entangled in other people's drama or expectations. It's the ability to hold space for others without losing yourself in the process. Mastering emotional detachment is not about shutting people out or closing your heart off. It's about learning how to maintain your own emotional equilibrium, regardless of what's happening around you. It's the ability to remain centered and grounded, no matter how chaotic or manipulative others may become. Detachment is a skill, one that you've learned over time through trial, error, and growth. It's the ability to observe without becoming involved, to listen without being affected, and to love without losing yourself in the process. The strength of detachment lies in its freedom. When you detach from the need for others' approval, from the need to fix every problem, and from the need to constantly prove yourself, you free yourself from the shackles of emotional turmoil. You no longer need to react to every trigger, to every insult, or to every challenge. You learn to simply observe, to respond when necessary, and to let go when it's time to release. This emotional independence gives you a strength that others cannot understand. They may try to pull you back into their games, their manipulations, their expectations, but you no longer play by those rules. You've learned to stay true to yourself, to remain unaffected by the emotional storms around you, and to walk in your own power. Detachment doesn't make you cold or uncaring, it makes you wise. It allows you to preserve your energy, protect your peace, and cultivate a life that is not dependent on anyone else's approval. And this, my friend, is a power that can never be taken away from you. When you are emotionally independent, you are free, free from the expectations of others, free from the emotional weight of other people's needs, free to live authentically and powerfully. And it is in this freedom that you truly thrive. The unseen struggles of the past, what they don't understand. The people around you may see your success, your strength, your growth, but they have no idea what it took to get here. They don't see the countless sleepless nights, the moments of doubt, the heartaches, and the sacrifices you made to become the person you are today. The struggles you've faced, the ones that no one knew about, have shaped you into the powerful being you've become. But while others may see your light, they rarely understand the depth of darkness you've had to navigate to reach it. These unseen struggles are what forged your character, your resilience, and your determination. They are the battles you fought in silence, the moments when you had to dig deep within yourself and find the strength to keep moving forward. There were times when you felt like giving up, times when you doubted your own worth, times when you felt completely alone in your fight. But despite all of that, you kept going. You kept pushing because deep down, you knew there was something greater waiting for you. What others don't understand is that your strength wasn't born from some external source. It was born from within. It came from the quiet moments of introspection, the times when you had to pick yourself up after falling, and the times when you had to make decisions that no one else understood. The battles you fought were not for public recognition, nor did they come with applause. They were internal battles, battles of the heart, the mind, and the spirit. Now, as you stand in your power, people may see your success and assume that it came easily, that you were somehow blessed with an easier path. But the truth is, your success is the result of countless unseen struggles that have prepared you for this moment. You've had to fight for every inch of growth, every ounce of confidence, and every piece of peace that you now carry with you. And while they may never fully understand what you've been through, that's okay, because you know. And that's all that matters. The discomfort of others, why they can't accept your evolution. The moment you began to evolve, to step into your power and embrace your true self, something shifted in the people around you. They began to feel uncomfortable. They began to sense that you were no longer the person they once knew, the person they could control, manipulate, or rely on for validation. And in that discomfort, they started to question everything they thought they knew about you. The truth is, your evolution is a reflection of their own stagnation. As you've grown, they've remained stuck in their own patterns, their own limitations, and their own comfort zones. Your growth forces them to confront the parts of themselves they've been avoiding, the parts of themselves that are afraid to change, to evolve, to let go of the past. And rather than embracing your growth, they reject it. They resist it. They don't want to accept that you've outgrown the person they once knew. Your evolution challenges their worldview. It forces them to acknowledge that they are capable of more, but they are too afraid to take the necessary steps. And that discomfort, it comes from the realization that they've been left behind. Your growth highlights their fear, their complacency, and their unwillingness to change. And because they can't face that, they choose to resist your evolution, to judge you, or to criticize you. But here's the thing, your growth is not about them. It never has been. It's about you. It's about stepping into your truth, your power, and your potential, regardless of whether or not they can accept it. Their discomfort is not your problem, it's theirs. And the more you embrace who you've become, the more they will have to face the discomfort of their own limitations. The illusion of control, why they can't manipulate you anymore. For so long, the people around you thought they had control over you. They thought they could manipulate you, pull your strings, and get you to react the way they wanted. They thrived on the idea that you were emotionally dependent on them, that your happiness and well-being were tied to their approval. But what they didn't realize is that the control they thought they had was only an illusion. You were never truly under their control. You were simply playing the role they had assigned you, because you hadn't yet awakened to your true power. But once you realized that you didn't need their approval, that their words and actions had no power over you unless you gave it to them, the illusion of control crumbled. Now they are left scrambling, trying to figure out how to get back into your life, how to regain the power they once had over you. But they can't, because you've learned the truth, they never had control over you in the first place. You were always in control, even when you didn't realize it. The moment you stopped playing by their rules, stopped seeking their validation, and stopped reacting to their manipulations, you broke the chains that bound you. And now they are powerless. They can no longer control your emotions, your actions, or your life. And that is a truth they will never accept. But the beauty of it is this: you no longer need their control. You are free, free from their manipulation, free from their judgment, free to live your life on your terms. And in that freedom, you've found your true power. The growth that scares them, what they fear most. You have experienced a transformation so profound that it has shaken the very foundations of those around you. It's not your success they fear, though they may pretend it's all about envy or jealousy. What really terrifies them is your growth, the way you have evolved into someone they can no longer control, manipulate, or predict. They once thought they had you figured out. They thought they knew your limits, your weaknesses, and your triggers. They believed they could keep you in a box, always within their reach, always under their control. But your growth, the growth that has come from within, has shattered their illusions. They no longer have a hold on you, and that is their deepest fear. Your growth forces them to confront the truth about themselves. It exposes their own stagnation, their refusal to evolve, and their inability to rise above their own limitations. You see, they didn't fear your success. They feared that your success would highlight their own failure to grow, their own refusal to step out of their comfort zones. They feared that, by watching you rise, they would have to face their own unresolved issues. Your growth holds a mirror up to their lives, and they don't like what they see. They can't stand to witness someone who once walked the same path as them now surpassing them, leaving them behind in the dust of their complacency. The truth is, they are afraid of change. They are afraid of the discomfort that comes with it. And they are terrified that your growth will force them to either face their own fears or stay stuck forever. But you are no longer their concern. You have moved beyond their judgment and their expectations, and now you stand in your power, untouched by their fear. They can criticize you, they can gossip about you, but their words mean nothing. Their fear of your growth will always be a reflection of their inability to grow themselves. Embracing your power, the true source of your strength. There is a quiet strength within you, a power that radiates from the very core of your being. This is not the kind of power that comes from external validation, from the approval of others, or from temporary successes. This is the power that comes from knowing who you are at your deepest level. It is the power of self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-love. This is the power of standing in your truth, of being unapologetically you, and of living in alignment with your highest purpose. When you embrace your power, you stop seeking it from outside sources. You stop looking for validation from others, for approval from those who don't understand you, and for recognition from people who can't see your worth. Instead, you look inward. You tap into the well of strength that has always been there, waiting for you to recognize it. This is the power that comes from knowing that you are enough, just as you are. It is the power that comes from trusting yourself, trusting your decisions, and trusting the path you are walking. When you fully embrace this power, you stop apologizing for your existence. You stop shrinking to make others feel comfortable. You stop doubting your worth. You no longer need anyone to tell you that you are capable, because you know it deep down. This power isn't something that can be taken from you. It isn't something that can be diminished by anyone's opinion or criticism. It is yours, and it always has been. It is a power that cannot be shaken, because it is rooted in the truth of who you are. It is the power that comes from knowing that you are worthy of everything you desire, that you are deserving of love, success, and peace. And once you embrace this power, there is nothing that can stop you. You are unstoppable because your strength is not dependent on the approval or acceptance of others. It comes from within, and that makes it limitless. Your power is your birthright, and when you step into it fully, you not only change your life, but you also inspire others to do the same. Embrace your power because it is the true source of your strength. And when you do, you will see that you are capable of achieving far more than you ever imagined. The freedom of being untouchable, living beyond the reach of control. There is a remarkable freedom that comes with standing in your truth, with being unapologetically yourself, and with no longer allowing others to control your life. This freedom is not about running away from the world or disconnecting from people. It's about living with the knowledge that no one can manipulate your emotions, dictate your actions, or shape your destiny without your consent. It's the freedom that comes when you no longer seek to please others or meet their expectations. It's the freedom that comes when you stop playing by the rules set by others and begin to create your own path. Being untouchable doesn't mean you are unreachable or isolated. It means that your peace, your happiness, and your sense of self are no longer dependent on anyone else's actions or opinions. You have reached a point where you understand that the opinions of others do not define your worth. You are free because you no longer allow anyone or anything to dictate how you feel, how you act, or what you believe. Living beyond the reach of control means that you no longer allow anyone's manipulation, criticism, or judgment to sway your decisions or shape your reality. You are no longer tied to the expectations that others have placed on you, and you no longer feel the need to conform to their desires. You are free to live your life on your own terms, to pursue your own dreams, and to make decisions that are aligned with your purpose. This freedom is liberating because it allows you to step fully into your own power. When you are untouchable, you are not controlled by fear, guilt, or obligation. You are not controlled by the need for approval or the fear of rejection. Instead, you live in a state of peace and inner knowing. You understand that your worth does not come from the approval of others, it comes from within. And once you understand this, nothing can touch you. You are untouchable, not because you are invincible, but because you have mastered the art of emotional independence. You no longer give others the power to disrupt your peace. You are free to be who you are, to make the choices that serve your highest good, and to live a life that reflects your true essence. This is the freedom of being untouchable, the freedom that comes from knowing who you are, standing in your power, and refusing to let anyone or anything take that away from you. Conclusion: honoring the chosen ones. The journey you've taken to get here has not been easy, and it has not been without its challenges. But you are here now, standing tall, unwavering, and fully aware of the power that resides within you. You are no longer the person who sought validation, approval, or permission. You are no longer the person who allowed others to control or manipulate your emotions. You have become the chosen one, the one who has stepped into their true power, who has broken free from the chains of fear and doubt, and who now stands as an example of what is possible when you trust yourself and embrace your journey. Your growth, your strength, and your unwavering confidence are a testament to the power of resilience, the power of self-love, and the power of inner peace. You have earned every ounce of your success, every moment of clarity, and every bit of peace you now experience. The chosen ones are those who have been through the fire and emerged stronger, wiser, and more powerful. They are the ones who do not seek approval from the world around them, but instead create their own path, guided by their own inner wisdom. You are part of that elite group, the ones who walk with purpose, who live without fear, and who stand in their truth. The world needs more chosen ones. It needs more people who are not afraid to rise, to step into their power, and to show others that they too can break free from the chains that hold them back. You are the proof that transformation is possible. You are the living example of what happens when you stop seeking approval and start living in alignment with your true self. And for that, you deserve to be honored. You are not just surviving, you are thriving. You are not just existing, you are living with purpose, with intention, and with the strength to move mountains. So, take a moment to honor yourself. Recognize the journey you've taken, the battles you've fought, and the strength you've gained. You are a chosen one, and nothing can stop you now. The world is yours to conquer, and you are more than ready to rise to the occasion. Keep walking your path, because your journey has only just begun.